Okay, we are live. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. And for a couple of weeks, we've kind of just had small slithers of news, little pieces of information dropping. But today we have had an absolute landslide of information, a big show coming up tonight. I'm looking forward to it. So let's get into the big stories. As we know, as I'm positive everybody has already seen, Joshua Zirkzee, here we go. We've got that from Fabrizio Romano today. I always thought that it would come pretty soon after the Dutch left Euro 2024. That's the impression that I've had for the last couple of weeks, and that has happened. I didn't expect it today. I thought maybe tomorrow or maybe Saturday would be the day, but Zirkzee is done. Everything is agreed with the agent, everything agreed with Bologna. We will be paying 42.5 million euros, slightly above the release clause, but on more flexible payment terms, which is good. I don't mind paying an extra 2.5 million pounds if it means that we can spread the payments out and have more money to spend in this summer. It's going to be a big window for us. It's shipped out to be a really big day for Manchester United, which is very, very exciting. And there are plenty of stories for us all to go through. We'll get talking on Zirkzee, though. He is, of course, the main topic of conversation at Manchester United. So Zirkzee, coming from Bologna, former Bayern Munich player. I think he also played for Anderlecht. He is a striker, but perhaps not in the traditional mode. Perhaps not an out-and-out goal scorer. He's going to get us. He's going to get us 30 goals next season. I mean, if he does, I'd be very happy. But he's more of a facilitator. He's someone who's going to improve the dynamics of the forward line. He's a refreshingly different profile, I think, and yeah, look, I'm very excited for it. He will come in, another young striker to play alongside Højlund, and that gives us options up front. A lot of the time last year, it did look like Højlund maybe was struggling for form, struggling maybe a little bit overplayed. But I do think that this is a move that will definitely help him. It means we can take him out of the squad if we need to, take him out of the team. Means we can play two up top if we want. We could play Højlund and Zirkzee, which would definitely be a fun prospect. And I'm very, very happy with the signing as well. Lucky Singh is down there. Matthias de Ligt has an agreement to join United. Yeah, that is going to be one of the later stories tonight as well. That deal not quite done, but certainly we're getting there. And some exciting news from David Ornstein as well, guys. United have not triggered the release clause in Zirkzee's contract, but will instead pay slightly more, stagger their payments, be more flexible. I don't mind that at all. An extra 2.5 million over the course of 4 or 5 years. It's not going to be that big of a deal. So very happy with that there. Medical set to be tomorrow, so get your flight trackers out. Any flights coming from the Netherlands to Manchester, any flights coming from Germany to Manchester, in terms of private jets or whatnot, always something to look out for. And it's exciting news. He's an exciting player. He's a good profile. He's young. He will improve, and he'll definitely give us some different options, some better options up there as well, in terms of our forward line. So that is the update on Zirkzee. Very, very happy with that. Very happy with the progress of this deal. And I've been quietly impressed by the overall aptitude that Ineos have shown so far. And I know that we are on the 11th of July. It is our first Here We Go, but I would expect either tomorrow, either Saturday, to find another Here We Go for Matthias de Ligt. I think that deal's getting close. I think Ugarte, now that Uruguay have gone out of Copa America 2024, that deal will get done pretty soon. I would imagine then we start to look at Branthwaite again. There was talk of a third bid going in. There's Lenny Yoro on the back burner as well. That bid has been accepted. We await his decision, of course. We are looking at left backs. Very exciting times for Manchester United, and it's going to be a busy couple of weeks for us, guys. Believe it or not, our first pre-season match is in 4 days' time. We'll probably do a watch-along or something on the channel if it's sometime after 7 o'clock. Just depends with work and not. This is kind of the earliest we can get on. I've got Luman down below. Good to see you, buddy. He says, I hope he doesn't become Depay 2.0. Different type of player. There has been concerns in the past with him, but I'm very happy with the signing, and I'm delighted that we got this deal done nice and early in relation to the Netherlands exit to Euro 2024. I've been saying for a while, guys, it would be a little bit on the frustrating side. We've known this for quite a while, that we're going to have to wait for these tournaments to be over, for players to leave their international squads to get deals done and over the line, and that does seem to have happened today, so I'm very happy with that. Let me know your thoughts down below on the poll as well, guys. How you guys feeling about the Zirkzee signing? Are we happy? Are we not happy? Are we a little bit unsure? A little bit tentative? I can see already we got 26 votes on that. We got 81% are feeling very positive. And Eric's down there first. Here we go. Under Ineos, expected Garte and De Ligt possible tomorrow or over the weekend. And then on to the bid for Branthwaite. I would agree with that. I think that's pretty... I think that's pretty much going to be the story of the week. Eric, I would agree with that. I think De Ligt... Don't think the agreement is quite there. It's getting down to the smaller details, which is good. You know, it's getting down to pretty much the structuring of the fee and how we're going to pay that there. Are we going to be flexible? Is it going to be more upfront? How we're going to work that out? I'm sure Bayern will want to get as much upfront as possible. I know that United will want to stagger things out, but we're gonna find out, and we should find out pretty soon on that one. So good comment there. And we also have a small update coming in on Lenny Euro coming from Political, which is interesting. More of a German source, not so much a French source or an English source. But he says Euro has not made a decision yet. His choice will be between Manchester United and Real Madrid. He's considering all options, which I'm going to take as a positive. You know, we definitely thought a couple of weeks ago all the talk was going to be that United might put a bid in for Euro, but he's going to decide to join Real Madrid. But he's considering things, he's considering the options. We know that Lille's preference would be United because we've offered more money than Real Madrid, and they're not talking about putting up any more bids as well, any increased offers, and are happy to wait for his deal to run down as well. Man Utd says, I will not get excited as it jinxes the expectations. Exactly. Let's temper the expectations. I would agree with that comment. You know, I do feel like sometimes we get in over our heads, and sometimes we do think a little bit ahead of ourselves. But I'll be quietly optimistic. I think it's a good signing, and from everybody I've seen online, people I respect in terms of their analysis and, you know, the sort of data, the clips I've watched as well, I'm pretty happy with Zirkzee. He will bring qualities to the team. He will bring more goals to our team. Maybe not necessarily with him scoring the goals, but he will definitely bring more quality as well. Hello to Bart, and Eric says, if given the chance to pick between Branthwaite and Euro, who would I pick? I think both are good options. For me, I know it's maybe not the most popular signing or maybe not the most attractive one, but I would probably take Branthwaite because I just think he's better in terms of what we need from our centre backs. We need someone to win headers, someone to cover the wide areas, someone to be a decent screening and a lawyer left back. Probably Luke Shaw, probably gonna be first choice next season. Provide that kind of cover in the wide areas, be good in the transition. So I would take I would take Branthwaite. I would love both. I think both would be really good. And Real Madrid do appear to be looking up some backups for their signings as well of Euros. So that's an interesting one. Keep an eye out on that there. When Madrid going to be key in this, as we know, it's going to be down to the player. Club have accepted the fee offered by us. So let's just find out what happens. It's not without the realms of possibility for us to sign Euro, Branthwaite and De Ligt and completely overhaul our centre-back options, which would be a nice three to have. Then you add, of course, Lisandro Martinez, probably one of Maguire and Lindelof. I expected at least one of them to go, and probably Johnny Evans. So that's a nice collection of centre-backs. You've got different ages, you've got different profiles, different experience, got some good ball players, some good ball carriers, good players in the air. So we'll have a selection of different centre backs, which I think will be good because we matches, you know, where we're going to have more of the ball. There'll be matches where we're going to be able to play out from the back easily, but there'll also be matches where we're going to be facing some high balls, so some crosses into the box and stuff like that. We need to be better at defending. I think our corner record, both offensively and defensively last year, was kind of poor on the whole, so I would like to see us improve and really go for it in the centre-back areas, and I think it's an important place to build from. Bartis on there, and Please United are finally signing a player and acting proactively in the window. Fans just need to be patient with them and not get on Ten Hag's back, judge him after 9 months. Exactly, look, I would always say give a player a season. I think they don't have to be at their best by the end of the season. They don't have to be the complete article, but look for progression, and you want to see your players slowly get better across the season to the point where they will start to really nail down a place in the starting 11 where they'll really start to show their best form towards the end of the year. I think a season's always a fair gauge to give it as well. So let's just see what happens with this one. Lucky Singh is feeling pretty strong on the transfers, which is good. He says, when the players come, the reaction. Yeah, it just depends on the reaction, Lucky, as well. It's like I always said, there's three aspects of getting any deal done. We have to go agree a deal with the club, we have to go agree a deal with the player, and then we have to hope that everything comes together in the end for the medical and the contracts and stuff. So those are the three aspects of every transfer. Big up to Sniper Man. He says, any Danny Olmo news? Haven't seen anything on Olmo other than the fact he's got a 60 million euro release clause, which isn't bad. He can be a little bit on the injury prone side, but I think there's a really, really good player in there. And that's not even just coming from the Euro 2024 performances. That's coming from his couple of seasons in Leipzig. And even before that, I'd seen glimpses of him. I think he was at Zagreb before that. And he always looked pretty impressive to me, Danny Olmo. I don't think he's necessarily the player we need. I don't think he's necessarily the kind of player that we are crying out for in the middle of the pitch. I think, with Bruno and with Mount and probably Eriksen maybe staying, you've got enough creativity from those midfield areas. You add your wide players as well, who hopefully we can get more out of. But, if in a season or two Bruno's maybe moved on, Danny Olmo could be a really good replacement. Anyway, we'll get on to the rest of the stories because there's a lot to go through tonight as well. We will, of course, circle back to Zirkzee as and when it comes up. But I guess the next two that we have got through the door are both Ruud van Nistelrooy and I think Rene Hack, or Hacke, I'm not too sure in the Dutch pronunciation, but two assistant managers in. Some new coaching staff. We have some departures as well. Mitchell van der Gaag has left the club. The long-term number 2 of Erik ten Hag, that's all confirmed. And that's positive. They're both assistant managers. They'll work under and with Erik ten Hag until June 2026. It gives us options. It gives us different voices, different opinions, and sometimes you just need to freshen things up. Ferguson was a master of this. He had a lot of number 2s. He had a lot of good coaches in his time at United. Of course, you think back to the early days. It was Brian Kidd, of course. Then we had Steve McLaren, notable. And then we had Carlos Queiroz. He was moved on. René Meulenstein came in. Mike Phelan came in. And then towards the end, there was a couple of other changes as well at United. So changing up the backroom staff. We're changing up the medical department as well. 2 have left and some more have come in, which is always good news. I think medical department will have been a big annoyance, and that does seem to have been the case, where Ineos have looked at it and said, we've had far too many injuries, let's address this situation, let's make some changes, bring some fresh people in. And we do seem to be doing that. So a lot. Van Nistelrooy, Rene Hacke as well have been brought in. We've brought in a new goalkeeping coach, which is another good one. And hopefully this is going to strengthen our backroom and give Erik ten Hag different voices he can go to for opinions that can bring different solutions. And sometimes a change in middle management can be important, and maybe that might spur us on, have a better season next year. I don't think things can get too much worse than last season. Let's hope for a big improvement. I guess we'll switch focus to Matthias de Ligt. He's another player we want to get talking about. Manchester United and Bayern are in negotiations over the transfer of de Ligt, with an agreement expected as early as the end of the week. The clubs are close in their valuation. Bayern are demanding 50 million euros, says Christian Falk of Bild. And I think it's just going to come down to the structure. I think this is going to be key for this summer because we want to get a lot of players in. We want to structure our deals where we pay the least amount upfront as possible, and that's what we've done with Zirkzee. For anyone who might have missed it as well, guys, we are paying above the release clause of Zirkzee by about 2.5 million. It's a separate deal negotiated. And whilst we are paying a little bit more, it means that we're not paying it all up front, which I think is really important. Whenever we're trying to bring 5 or 6 players in, we want to stagger things. And just think of it as buying things on... I always equate it to Klarna. I think Klarna is maybe the closest thing we can get, where we can kind of pay in threes. We're amortizing these deals. We're spreading them out. And that's why sales such as Greenwood, that's why sales such as potentially a Maguire or a Lindelof or McTominay, somebody like that. The players set to go. Casemiro as well, we could probably include in there. Wan-Bissaka potentially. These sales are important because getting the most up front will really, really help us. And I can see this deal getting done pretty soon. Bayern have, of course, signed João Palhinha for 46 million, and they're looking at selling Matthias de Ligt for around about 42 million. So that's kind of the ballpark we're talking there, they'll be keen to recoup that as much of that Polinia fee as possible. Gives them more money to spend in this upcoming window. So let's hope we can get a deal done. We know they're looking out for Jonathan Tah. I think this is a deal that gets done pretty soon. The agreement's been there with De Ligt for a while, according to Romano and other good sources. So I would say this is a deal going to get done pretty quickly, guys. Now, I've got some more comments. Bart is down there. I would let Eriksson leave, but they will need a centre mid as well. McTominay has his limitations, and Manu will be knackered. Yeah, I would agree with that. I think rotation's key. You know, I've always had a fear with the likes of Kobe Manu, with Garnacho. These are kids. Yes, they're really, really good, but they're still developing. They're still growing and growing into their bodies. And, think back to whenever we were 18 or 19, we weren't physically filled out. We weren't physically completely developed as well. And yeah, it's exciting. It's good that they're at this level already, but you want to manage it as well. You want to look after your players. You want to protect your players. And key examples of that, I think, that you can look at in previous years, in the recent past even, would be Pedri, sensational player, really, really good player for Barcelona, but as we know, has had a lot of injuries because in his first season he played 70 matches. We got Gavi as well, another one, prone to picking up knocks because he has been overplayed. Could the same happen to Yamal? Probably needs to be looked after, cared for as well. So, we got a duty as well. We don't want to run these players into the ground. You think of other examples. You look back, Jack Wilshere, potentially a player who broke through very early, showed a lot of promise at Arsenal, but ultimately broke down. Was that down to overplaying? Even at United, Wayne Rooney, done pretty much physically by the age of about 27, 28, 29, that kind of ballpark when he should have been coming into his prime. So it's important we look after these guys as well. Make sure they're fit, make sure they're fresh, and don't overplay them too much as well. That's what I would say. When possible, take them out of the team for a rest. We got Katie down there, ecstatic about the signing. This one I really wanted done. Yeah, look, I'm excited for it. I was on the agenda a while back and they said something along the lines of he's a very different profile. It's refreshingly different. It's a completely different option. We got, so it's important that we do look after Zirkzee when he comes in. Don't expect 30 goals next season. If he hits 15, that's a good number because it's not his complete game is scoring goals. He offers a lot more to the team in terms of build-up, in terms of his ability to drag defences around, facilitating others. So would expect to get more out of Rashford, Garnacho, maybe Bruno and Ahmad. It's just going to be about building these understandings. And the good thing about getting this deal done now is if Zirkzee takes a 2-week holiday, say he does his medical tomorrow, which is being talked about by Ornstein. So if he does his medical tomorrow, he takes a 2-week break, he probably can catch the end of pre-season going into the Community Shield as well. So that'll be good for him. Hopefully we can get De Ligt in by the end of the week. He can do the same. Then I would expect us probably to focus on Ugarte, go for the third bid for Branthwaite. We're still waiting for Euro's decision. There's talk of a Turkish left back. I think I can't pronounce the guy's name. I do apologise, but he caught me out a little bit for Turkey. Not gonna lie, I don't know a lot about him. I didn't really watch Fenerbahce a lot last year, but could be a decent option if we do choose to bring him in. And yeah, look, there's so many stories floating about there. We got Jack Talbot, United and Bayern Munich interested in RB Leipzig's midfielder Dani Olmo. I feel like that's probably just a reaction to his really good performances in the Euros. Yeah, we might be interested, but I can't see attacking midfielders being our concern when the only defensive midfielder we have in our team is Casemiro, who's 31 now, looked well off it last season, and we need to start structuring our midfield. I think we've got a real gem in Kobe Manu, so I think it's important that we build towards his future and build the midfield around getting the best out of Manu for years to come. And we do that by getting him a good partner. He's played beside Declan Rice for England. He looks really good in England's midfield. Completely took over from Gallagher, from Trent and all other options. He's a go-to man now, and he was very impressive yesterday. So let's just see on this one. That's what I think we need to do our strengthening on. We also have Romano in the last couple of minutes as well. So United want to get the Zirkzee and De Ligt deals done as soon as possible. Here we go, already announced on Zirkzee. De Ligt is close, so that's more good news. And he has said, we're close to reaching the agreement on the fee for De Ligt. Talks continuing and progressing. Bayern are insisting on 50 million, and United are happy to pay, but they want to structure the deal. So that's what it's all about. You know, we've got a pot of money right now. What we want to do is save as much of it for buying more players. That's pretty much the upshot of it, and that's pretty much what we're going to be doing. De Ligt has chosen United. He told his agent 2 weeks ago he would only join Manchester United. He would only leave Bayern for us. So although there was tentative Liverpool links, I wouldn't be too concerned about that. I wouldn't be too pressed at all about those issues. So yeah, look, it's been an interesting day. 2 new assistant managers confirmed. Donny van de Beek has gone to Girona for 500,000. It's not a big fee. It's probably all going to be up front. It's not really going to make much of a difference, but it's more wages off the books. You know, it's less wages that we have to be concerned about, and I guess that's probably a good thing. I'm sure Donny van de Beek was on £100,000 a week at United, probably somewhere in that kind of ballpark, maybe slightly higher. I'm not too sure, but it's another good one. You know, I'm happy to move Van de Beek on. Just never worked out. Never really felt like it was going to. Didn't get any real matches under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. When Erik ten Hag came in, we kind of thought it's sort of now or never for Van de Beek. If he can't make it under the guy who pretty much made him as a player, then he's probably not going to make it for anybody. And Ten Hag tried. He got a couple of knocks and it ultimately didn't happen. The interesting story, I guess, guys, is Lenny Yoro is still to make a decision on his future. His choice will be between United and Madrid. He is considering both options, which is good. You know, we've been told for a long time that Yoro was of interest to United, but key to it was that he had his heart set on joining Real Madrid. Does look like he's considering our offer. As we know, Lille will be very happy if he does pick us because we'll give him more money. We got a small story as well to give you guys. Youth player Toby Collier has signed a new contract at Manchester United, valid until June 2027, so 3-year deal there for Toby Collier, and do expect to see him on pre-season duty. He was in some of the squads towards the end of last season. Midfield player, he might be out there, and he might be a player we see more of in this upcoming pre-season. Ten Hag does seem to be fairly keen on him, I guess, so we'll keep an eye out for it, and it's one to be watching in our pre-season. Kicks off next week, of course. Small update, I guess, here from Manchester Evening News. Zirkzee will not only provide backup to Rasmus Højlund in central attack, but is also viewed as a versatile player who can play across the forward line and even in a forward too. So kind of what we've been talking about. He's not going to be a completely rotation player. He's going to have minutes for us and plenty of them. Good to see, of course, Ruud van Nistelrooy back at Manchester United. More experienced options, I guess, on the bench. And we have some Erik ten Hag quotes on Van der Gaag and Benny McCarthy leaving that we'll have a look at just after we do some comments here as well. So make sure to vote on the poll, guys. Let me know your thoughts on the first signing of the summer, Joshua Zirkzee. Are you guys happy with it? Are we unsure about it? Or are we not happy with it? Only 2% are saying that they're not happy. 16% are unsure. 83%. Big numbers saying, yeah, I'm happy with that signing. Eric says, most significant signing will be Ugarte. Our spine is fragile, lacks legs. We need to get Ugarte into the middle of the pack. I wouldn't dispute that. I think that's important signing to make. I'm still not sold on Ugarte from a personal level. I just don't think as a single pivot player or even just playing in there that it's necessarily the right move for us. I think he's not the best in the air. His on-ball quality isn't really there, and even when it comes to his duels, it does look a little bit reckless. I think he'll bring bite and aggression, some much-needed steel in midfield. I think he will be an aggressive player that might help us set a more intimidating tempo to the match and a stronger kind of approach to our defensive stuff. But I would be slightly concerned about the fact that he is seemingly out of position in a lot of the duels and stuff that I've watched, but we'll see how it develops. He mightn't be the only midfielder. I hope he isn't. I hope we bring two in if we are getting Ugarte, because I don't think he is the remedy to all our problems, for me anyway. Bart said the only issue with Rene and Ruud is that each of them three Dutchmen are a little temperamental. There's no one to balance out the tough cop approach. Yeah, that's possibly true. GK says De Ligt soon. Yeah, I think it's going to be coming pretty soon. Bart says, should United loan players that Ten Hag doesn't want or need for his vision, as these unwanted players are potential bad eggs and can't think the place out? I mean, anything's within the realms of possibility. I'm sure right now we are sitting in the early stages of July where about a week and a half into July. I would say if the players we don't want who might cause us issues are not permanently sold by August, then I think maybe we'll start to look at trying to loan some of them out potentially. These are all prospects. Eric is down there. I think we should try get Ivan Toney, experienced striker and guaranteed goals. Yeah, I'm a fan of Toney. I just think price wise, Brentford might price us out of it. There was talk last year when Arsenal were looking him in January, £70 million they were looking for. He's an important player to Brentford. They didn't have the best of season last year. Tony's goals towards the end of the season maybe kept them up a little bit. So yeah, look, I'm not too sure on that one. Dad said refreshing to do deals early. It is refreshing. I think what makes this different than last year was that last year we had signed Mount by this stage, and that was the deal done. But we hadn't really moved on any other players, and it feels like the Ligt is right around the corner. It feels like they're going after Ugarte. It feels like Euro, if he decides to say yes to United, he could be next in. It feels like we're going to go in with a third bid for Branthwaite. It feels like we might go in for a left back, in the next couple of weeks. And there's definitely a push within the club to get things done early and get things done quickly. And I like it. It's a different approach. We're operating sensibly in the market and spending a little bit extra to get Zirkzee on better deals in terms of our payment. That makes a lot of sense to me, and I'm glad that we're taking up these options and exploring all possible avenues. And it's stuff maybe we haven't seen United do too much in the past, and hopefully long may it continue. Hopefully this is only the beginning and things will get even better from here on in. I always had the feeling that Euro 2024 Copa America would hold quite a few of our signings up, and it kind of has proved to be that way. If the Dutch went out in the group stage like they very nearly did when they finished third, then potentially you could have been looking at a possibility where Zirkzee and Ligt would be done by now. But it's not quite worked out that way. It is what it is. We can't really get that there changed too much. Bart said, "Will Ten Hag let Euro do his homework on Thursday night?" I'm sure he will, buddy. But how do you expect Rashford to respond to the signings? I hope he responds good, buddy. I hope he responds good. And the reason I would say I hope he responds good is because, for me, Zirkzee is a player who hasn't just been signed to add goals himself to the forward line, because he will score goals, but he mightn't score 25, 30 goals like some people might expect. But he's a player who's going to turn up and he's going to get us clicking better in the final third. And I always think that the best performances, from Rashford and possibly Garnacho, Bruno Fernandes, players like that, have kind of come with Anthony Martial as the forward. And Martial, as we know, is a player who brought others into play. He linked up well, he linked the attack well, he was a good player to pass the ball to, and he would find these passes in and around the penalty box. And it's good to have more players who can do that, because it kind of takes the pressure off Bruno to do it, which is good. Zirkzee can help open up spaces for Højlund or for Rashford or Bruno, Garnacho. He will be a very useful player for us. Very, very different player than what we've got as well. I've got, I think, Oing is down there with some hearts. Good to see you. Thanks very much. Daz says the Ireland team at least have great teeth. Yeah. I mean, we got the Icelandic managers come in to manage Ireland. Very, very unexpected one. Really don't know a lot about him outside of being the Iceland manager. You all said lost 30 minutes of the show. Bolto comes first after a look after him. He wanted a long walk. Oh, that's good, buddy. Got to look after the dogs. Absolutely. I agree with that. one. Nubis as well down below. Good to see Nubis. Glad someone recognised Manu's weakness. He stands too much when he doesn't have the ball. It just comes with the positions he's playing in, because he doesn't want to be the last player who plays in the last shoulder. He doesn't want to be a guy making like the first runs into the box. He's a player who operates best in between the halfway line and the opponent's penalty box for me. He's got composure in front of goal, but let him drive, let him run, let him sell people with body feints and stuff. That's his strength. He's not quite a Bruno Fernandes who wants to be as close as goal as possible. Bourne said, if Ineos insists on signing this Everton Maguire, then nothing has changed. United should not be spending more than 50 million on defenders. I think high fees automatically makes players feel. The track record isn't great with big fees. I have a lot of confidence in Branthwaite, though. I feel like that. Oh, Dad said someone said he's a dentist. Oh, I didn't know what that was about, but I was just sort of like, what? Oh well, it is what it is. But yeah, Look, I like Branthwaite. I think he's a very, very good prospect at 21. He's 6'5". He's got a really good habit of being able to defend wide areas, which is where we struggle with. Think about the goals we conceded last year. So many of them were from transition. So many were opposition players breaking down the touchline and putting cutbacks into the box, and they would score from that. We don't stop the crosses well enough. But if we're going to play a high line, you need players like Branthwaite. Look at what Van Dijk does at Liverpool. He's an absolute machine when it comes to defending in wide areas, stopping the opposition getting forward, and hopefully Branthwaite can become something similar to that. I don't think he's anywhere near Van Dijk's level at the minute, but perhaps if you compare him to a 21-year-old Van Dijk, the same kind of attributes and raw qualities are there for me, and I think it's good that hopefully he's gonna grow into being a really important player for us in future, if we do get him, of course. I've got uh, is it David? David Alameda. I'm bad with names. I've always been shocking with names. Zirkzee reminds me of Kanu with his playing style. I mean, there's little bits in it. I think he's hopefully going to be a similar solution as what Anthony Martial was for us. Martial had a really good link up with Rashford, a really good link up with, of course, Bruno Fernandes as well, and hopefully that can help us. Kelly said, guys need to get off the silly. Branthwaite is Maguire, whatever. He's a very good defender. It's not just about the fee, nothing more. He is a very good defender, and I would also add to that. I think that I think that in terms of quality, I also think Maguire's probably a little bit underrated by his fans. I feel like maybe he's an easy player to hit sometimes. And Nuba says Branthwaite has 79% pass rate. Ligt has just under 94, and Ligt is much cheaper. It's not just about the passing. I think it's important to contextualise that Ligt's playing for Bayern Munich and Branthwaite was playing for Everton, and Everton were in a relegation fight for most of the season. And I think that will obviously be context as well. And it's something to consider with Euro. If you're looking at clean sheets or you're looking at sort of pass accuracy, Bayern Munich will play a very high line. Oppositions will back off. That most of their passes might be short passes to the opposite centre back, into the full back, maybe to the holding midfielder. So everything I think is to be contextualised. It does make it kind of hard whenever we're comparing across teams. If we have two centre backs in the one team and one's got 98% pass accuracy and the other one's got 60%, then I think you start to look and say, right, well, what's going on here? But it's very hard to compare Everton and Bayern Munich, of course, completely different teams. But it is a fair point. I do think Branthwaite needs to work on his possession game. I don't think he's a finished article, and I don't think that he comes in and automatically becomes an unbelievable passer of the football. I think that's got to be progress. I think it will be progress, but from a raw attribute, we look at a guy in Branthwaite. He's 6'5", really quick, really good stride pattern, can cover the wide areas really nicely, get up and down, and has played at left back. He's 2-footed. He's a danger in both boxes. I think he ticks a lot of boxes for me because I think if we're aerially weak and if we're going to play Lisandro Martinez and we're going to potentially get Ugarte, who are on the shorter side for centre backs and for defensive midfielders, who maybe don't win as many headers as what traditional players in those areas would do. I think you do need someone to excel in beside them, and I think that could be Branthwaite. It might be Ligt, it could be Euro, might even be Harry Maguire. Anything is possible, and I do think we'll see a lot of different combinations. We've got a lot of figuring out to do, especially coming into these big seasons and big summers where lots of players are coming and going. It's going to be a really interesting ride. It's been a very good start to the summer transfer window. I think it looks like we're getting close to signing Ligt. Zirkzee, it's here we go. Ugarte, I feel, will be next now that Uruguay are out of Copa America. Going to be a third bid for Branthwaite. We're waiting on a Euro decision. We're looking at a left back. This isn't the club that we've watched and sometimes pulled our hair out viewing in the last 10 years or so. This does feel, it feels fresh, it feels good, it feels pretty serious for the first time in a long time from Manchester United. I have to say, Lucky Singh has enjoyed Euro 2024. I have as well. I think it's been an enjoyable tournament. I think some matches maybe have flattered to deceive, and obviously poor performances out of France. England have just about started to get going with good performances. France disappointing. Germany, good start, didn't quite hit the heights of where they could do. Italy disappointing. Quite a few spoiling teams as well, with Slovenia, Slovakia, Serbia. Teams who want to make it hard to play against rather than going out there and trying to outscore the opposition. But it's been an interesting watch. It always is. Copa America is a very entertaining tournament. I'm sure we've all seen the clips of Darwin Núñez fighting in the crowd last night as well. So yeah, look, there's entertainment out there as well. Nubis, for me, is saying I would recommend to everyone to watch the Scarlet Report on Euro, where he did compare Euro with Branthwaite and Ligt. Might change your mind how you view Branthwaite after watching it. I've seen a lot of coverage. I've seen a lot of opinions. I don't know. I just think Branthwaite's a really good option for us, but I want them all. I would love them all. Let's sign all three, and they will not have any debates to be had. Look, guys, I think that'll do us for tonight. We're just about through everything, and I've got another stream coming up later on at 9 o'clock on the Man Utd agenda, so make sure to tune in for that there. It's in about an hour or so anyway. Gonna go get some food and chill out here for a little bit, and then I'll be back on at 9 o'clock. So thanks so much for tuning in tonight, guys. Really appreciate it. We'll be live same time tomorrow, 7 p.m. And yeah, guys, catch everyone then. Hopefully we'll have some Ligt news as well.